who's going to move to the ward from BC with his kids in the system in Ward 11, wants to know your views on background checks, on the careful hiring, one assumes, of teachers. And to which you would say, Kevin Morrison?
Honestly, I have a lot of confidence and faith in the current HR processes that are in place. I am not currently a trustee, so I really can't comment on them in detail. I just know that over the years there's been a very, and I know a lot of teachers, and I find them to be decent, hard-working people who I don't believe have ever in any way harmed any children that I know. And I honestly, if it's something that you'd like to talk about more, definitely go to my website. My telephone number's on there. Give me a call. Give me your questions specifically, and I'll go to the trouble of finding out more about it for you. And that's the best answer I can give you.
It's funny because my job as a civil servant, every single person has to be fingerprinted, and they have a reference background check. So I live in a system where it happens, and I see it all the time. I don't necessarily think it's right, but it is an inevitable thing that has been happening in the past and will continue to happen in the future. I'm quite willing to support the teachers in any way, shape, or form, and especially if there is a situation with somebody where they may have had a discretion many, many years ago, but they've managed to come out of that and it works out. I don't want to see somebody who could be a really good teacher suffer because of something that happened years ago, as long as we have the best people that are there representing our students and being there to teach our students what it is that they need to know.
When the successful candidate takes over as trustee representing this ward and then converses with all the other trustees, and the talk will obviously at some point turn to repair work in terms of getting back on track, getting back on focusing on the kids. What kind of special consideration should be given to the staff, perhaps maybe the senior staff as well, in terms of what they've had to go through in this whole schmozzle? Ryan Ward, I'll ask you that question first.
They should be thanked for everything that they've been through because they have to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. And we're talking everybody, right from the schools all the way to the board staff that has been dealing with all the things that have happened over the last term. They need to be thanked. And that's like first and foremost what has to happen is they need to be treated with respect. It talks about in the code of conduct how trustees have to show a measure of being accountable, and they have to represent the people of their ward as best they possibly can. And they talk about staff, how they're dealing with things on a day-to-day basis. They need to be there to represent everything that the board is all about, and they need to be thanked.
Kevin, what about that?
First off, just let me say this, that a lot of the way that our staffing is done through the collective agreement that we have with the various unions that represent the teachers. So I don't see anything sort of changing in that scope until, you know, the next
But
contract.
the senior people?
But the senior folks, I know quite a few of them, and I think that they're more annoyed about leadership than they are necessarily about what's actually going on in the schools. We still have, in the most part, and I'm not going to say it's an all part, we still have wonderful class ratios. As I said before, we're still producing students that are scoring quite well in EQAO and so on. Do these people need to be thanked? Yeah, of course they need to be thanked. Do they need to be
thanked? It's an unusual set of circumstances.
Well,
These kind of things don't come along every day.
If you'd have that many teachers that would say that, you know, supervision has been that awful.
All that bad?
Yeah, I'll give you a good example.
Maybe you guys aren't needed. Maybe this is the way to do it, right?
I had a conversation with the leader of one of the unions. It was only a few weeks ago. And he did actually say that supervision was, in some ways, actually quite good for them whenever it came to contract negotiations, because
they knew what to
whenever
expect,
they dealt,
perhaps, right?
well, actually, no, when they dealt with, well, yeah, I guess that's the point, but whenever they dealt with a board and supervision, they had a fair hearing rather than having trustees who were anti-union that attacked them.
So, I wonder what, Ryan, what the kids think of all of this, if they think anything of it at all, of all this bad adult behavior.
I I think they just need to realize that everybody needs to play well when in the sandbox, and that's the most important thing. So when it comes to you watch commercials and how parents are being escorted onto buses and are being taken out to show them the proper way of doing things, and it's the kids that are sending them off to like school. That's essentially what it is. It's like a reverse case scenario. The most important thing is that the students are getting everything that they can out of their Catholic education, and any way we can do it is the best thing that can possibly happen.
You think it's passing unnoticed amongst the kids, or some of them?
Yeah, my kids are barely aware of it. Okay, my kids are young. What I will say is that most parents aren't aware of this, the issues that we've
Well, is that a good thing or a bad
No,
thing?
actually, it's not a good thing. That's actually what I've been basing most of the outreach work that I've been doing on my campaign. But I've quite literally, at this point, knocked on thousands of doors. And I've quite literally talked to hundreds of parents. And I'd say at the start of this campaign, maybe 60+%, maybe close to 70% of parents, actual parents with kids in the system, were unaware of the situation. And this isn't across the school board.
Not after you left, though.
No, not after I left.
Tell them.
And frankly, I mean, it's the same story in every schoolyard that I've visited, for the simple reason that most people that are parents are too busy bringing their kids to ballet or brownies or the ice hockey, or sorry, to hockey or ice skating or skating
Now,
lessons.
before I run out of time here, I want to ask Ryan that same kind of question. Do you hear it at the door? Do they say, what the heck's going on with those trustees, or are you telling them what's going on with these trustees?
I think it's more of what are you going to do about what is going on. They do know what is going on, but
maybe
how
now
are
they
you
know
going
more
to
than
try
they
and
knew a
make
few
it?
weeks ago. Yeah.
How are you going to try and make it better, different, and better? And that's the biggest thing that I hear at the door.
Yeah. Okay.
Gosh, I wish I
Got to
could knock
stop
on
you
those
there.
doors.
That's our 30 minutes.
Doesn't take long.
No, it doesn't take long. Final thoughts now. We'll start with Ryan Ward. Final 30 seconds, please.
My name is Ryan Ward, and I'm running to be your Catholic School Board trustee in Ward 11. I'm here because I'm all about representing the people of Ward 11 any way I possibly can. I want to be there giving you forums to be able to voice your opinion on what is going on. I'm going to be there on the board to ensure that spending is kept within our parameters. And I'm going to be there to show you exactly what it is that you need to know about when it comes to the tcdsb.
All right.
This is why I'm Ryan Ward, and I'm running in Ward 11.
All right. Kevin Morrison, your final thoughts, please.
Okay. My name is Kevin Morrison. I'm the only candidate that's actually running that has children in the school system, and I think that's vitally important. I spent a good chunk of my time working within the school system. I have experience working at school council. I actually attend board meetings rather than reading the minutes. And this is something that I believe in. This is something that's important to me. This is an inner calling. And I really do think that it's time that we make a change. And if there's one message that comes from tonight, that is get out and vote, because every vote actually counts this time. And if you don't, you could wake up on October 26th with what is essentially a corrupt trustee still in place. So do whatever you can, but definitely get out and vote and make the best decision for you, your family, and your faith.
All right. Thank you both very much for coming in and discussing these issues.